Alright, so today we're going to be talking about my dry skin foundation routine. That is a sentence I never thought I was going to be saying in my life. I've had oily skin for about 5 years, at least, more than that. Kind of was normal before that, then got super oily, and now that I'm on Accutane, I have dry skin. So it took me at least a few weeks, probably about a month, to really nail down a foundation routine that I love on my skin right now. So this video is for dry skin folks. If you have normal skin, you could also probably do this. If you have oily skin, not for you. Have a bunch of videos for you though. So this routine lasts really well for me throughout the day. It doesn't break down, it doesn't cling on to any of my dry patches. It makes my forehead and everything look great, nice and plump, doesn't settle into my lines. It's just an all over good routine for me. Keep in mind that everyone's skin is different, so some foundations that work for me might look really bad on your skin and vice versa. This is just what I've been doing, what's been working really great for my skin. If you're new here, I do Foundation Friday every single Friday on my channel. I also do a series called 15 Days of Foundation. I have tons, like hundreds of foundation videos at this point, so I'll leave those playlists linked down below in the description box if you want to go and watch any. If you're excited for this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So here we go. Here's what I've been putting on my face in a routine that I've found just works great for my dry skin. Alright, so what I have found these past few months having dry skin has been that the way I prep my skin is literally equally as important as the actual foundation and products I'm using on top of my skin. If your skin is super dry and scaly and peely and just not plump and moisturized enough, then any product that you put on top of it is probably not going to look the best. I'm going to be having my full dry skin skincare routine coming soon. I don't know if this video will be up first or that video. I think this video will be up first, but I'm going to go in depth about the actual products I've been using. So I'm just going to talk about a couple that I use to prep my skin before makeup. Ooh. Like schwitzing in this long sleeve. So the first thing I do after I wash my face with the Cerave hydrating cleanser, I'll go in with sometimes an aloe toner, the Mari Badescu one. Probably like half the time I'll use that, and then the other half the time I'll just go straight in with my moisturizer. So two that I love for the morning and for underneath makeup are the Cerave Daily Moisturizing Lotion. I use this one most often. This one doesn't have SPF in it, so I'll use this if I'm using a foundation that does have SPF in it. But this one just absorbs really well into your skin. I applied this about 15 minutes ago, and I can feel it on my skin, but it definitely doesn't feel too slick or anything. Like, it feels like it's nicely absorbed in there, and I can put makeup on top of it. So I really like that one. And then if I have a foundation that doesn't have an SPF in it, I'll go in with the Elta Md Spf 45 UV Shield. This is really nice and lightweight for underneath makeup. They actually make a tinted version. I always kind of stay away from tinted stuff because usually the tint is way too dark for my skin. This is just the plain old white version, but I actually like it because it kind of cancels out some of the redness on my face. So this one I really like. You can get this off Amazon. My dermatologist's office also carries this one. So after I moisturize, like I said, I'll let that kind of sit in for about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. I'll drink some coffee, do whatever. My under eyes have been drier than usual lately, so then I'll just put on this Sunday Riley Auto Correct Brightening Eye Contour Cream, whatever this is called. I really like this. I mentioned this in the new at Sephora video. I really like this because it has this light reflecting thing in it that just really brightens up your under eyes. And I'll just kind of tap it in. I know, I'm not ring fingering it, just use a finger, I don't know. So if I just went in straight away with foundation right now, I don't think my skin would be quite moisturized enough. It looks way better when I do this next step. That's putting some kind of hydrating mist or setting spray on my face. So the two that I've been using, you can see this one is almost halfway down. I've been using this for about a month now, I want to say, month and a half. Maybe even 2 months. So these are the two that I'll kind of switch between. I've talked about this one for forever, but it's the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 setting spray and primer spray, and then also the Pixi Hydrating Milky Mist. This one has hyaluronic acid in it. This one is basically exactly what it says. It's just a hydrating mist. It's not really going to help with the longevity or anything of your makeup. This one I definitely feel like is more of a setting spray in that sense, that it's actually going to semi-help your makeup stay on. So I kind of just switch between the two depending on what my skin feels like that day and how long I want my makeup last and everything. But I'm going to use the Too Faced Hangover one today because this is what I would do if I want my makeup to last longer. So this spray gives you a really pretty dewy, glowy kind of look. Again, even if I'm not wearing makeup, I'll spray one of these on my face. So I'll give this thing a couple minutes to kind of set down. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you're washing your face in the morning or whatever and you do find that you have certain dry patches, you can just use like a little exfoliant. I don't use it while I'm on Accutane, because you're supposed to use like gentle stuff on your skin. But if you're not on Accutane, just have dry skin, then you can just use a little bit of an exfoliant and try and get some of that dead skin off. Also, if I do have some dry patches, like I've been getting it a little bit around this area, I'll just put a little bit of the J1 Jelly Pack on. This is like glue, so it almost like presses the dry flakiness into your skin. It's just not quite as raised, so when you put makeup on top of it, it's just not as noticeable. So I feel like this has been helping in that situation. So with my skin right now, I don't get oily at all throughout the day. It has been pretty great going from having oily skin and being like a total butter stick of butter by the end of the night. You guys know, even when I had oily skin, I really prefer the look of dewy foundations because they just don't emphasize the texture. They look more smoothing. They just sit way better on my skin personally. They look less heavy. They look less cakey. They just tend to sit better on the skin, I find. I did a whole video on extreme coverage foundations and most of those were dewy. So if you want to see kind of what my favorites are in that category, I'll put it in the eye over here and down below. I've heard from a lot of you guys that it's really hard to find foundations for dry skin. Let me know if you want to see a separate video on the top foundations that I've found so far, because I do have a handful of foundations and I'm not going to mention them all in this video. This one that I'm using today is just the one that I've found works really well for me right now and I've been reaching for it most, but I do have a handful of other foundations that I think are really bomb on dry skin. But basically something that I look for is a smoothing foundation, dewy, something that's not going to cling to the dry patches or anything. So the best foundation that I've found for that is the Dermablend Smooth Liquid Camo. So I did a full review on this during one of the 15 Days of Foundation series. Cream and Linen are the two lightest shades and they're really similar. There's like barely any difference. And both of them are too dark and they have this weird kind of orange yellow tint to it. So I do have to mix this solely because of the shade. If the shade was right, I would just wear this on its own. This is such a gorgeous foundation. I feel like this is totally underrated. It is very lightweight, smoothing, plumping. Even when I had oily skin, it didn't break down on my skin throughout the day. My forehead did get oily by the end of the night, but you guys don't care about that. You have dry skin. But with my skin now, this just looks stunning the whole day. It lasts amazing. So this on its own, I get about light full coverage. You can build this up to full coverage, just depending on how much product you use and how you apply it. I would say it's a medium to full coverage foundation on its own. But because of the shade, I mix it with one of three things, and I'm going to show you guys the three foundations that I mix it with. Actually, I have four. I thought I had three. I have four foundations here. The first two I would use solely if I want to lighten it and add more coverage. So that's the Laura Geller Cover Lock and then Dermacol 208. These two both have great coverage. They mix great with this one. They just add a lot more coverage to this and lighten it. If I just want to lighten it and I'm not going for like an extreme full coverage kind of look, mix it with either the Lorac Natural Performance Foundation. This I love. I've been using this ever since that first video. I think it was the Shadow and Schmooze or First Impressions I used this in. I really like this. It's bomb. These two are actually pretty similar, so I'll either mix it with this one or the CYO Life Proof I've mentioned 5,000 times. Both of these are great for dry skin on their own or mixed in with stuff, and they just have that same kind of very skin-like plumping look to them. Really flattering on any dryness or texture, I find. So you totally could use these two on its own as well. I'm giving away like a ton of the foundations that I would mention in that video. So the combo that I love and the one that we're going to use today is the Dermablend mixed with the CYO. If you want to know how any of the 4 or 5 foundations I'm talking about perform and look on their own, I have videos using all of them. You can always just search the name of the product plus the Tela in the search bar on YouTube, and any videos I have using it will come up. So to mix my foundations, I just use the lid of a Bath & Body Works candle. Works perfectly great. And I just do about 1/3 CYO, 2/3 Dermablend, just to get the shade right. As far as brush versus sponge for application, so far I'm finding that I really prefer a sponge just because you're adding more moisture back into your skin. So I'm going to go ahead and use the EcoTool sponge. This thing is so great. Did a whole video on it. I think I could have mixed this one a little bit lighter. I ran out of my concoction, so I'm mixing a little bit more. So this is what the combo looks like on its own right here. I love the way it sits on my forehead, doesn't emphasize any of my dryness around here or around my nose. So now I'm going to go in for concealer. I found that the Maybelline Fit Me works best for me right now. I use the shade 15, which is the lightest, not technically. There's the shade 10, but 15 is lighter than 10. And like I said in the sponge video, I kind of just let it chill there for about 30 seconds before I go in and blend it out. So now I'm going to go in and blend this out a little bit. If I'm feeling really lazy, I'll just go in with the same sponge I use for my face. but usually I like to use a brush or my finger. I still use the same under eye powders that I always use, the two Physicians Formula ones. I just mix these to get the right shade, and then I just press this under my eyes to set everything. So with dry skin, the only place I like to set my face is this area right here, because that's where I'm going to be blending bronzer, blush, and highlight on top of. And if you put that directly on foundation that still has some tackiness to it, it'll just be really hard to blend out. It'll kind of stick. It won't look totally blended and good. I have tried various powders on my skin when it's been dry, and it just does not look good. It looks so much better with just foundation on. If you can, I would just avoid powder. If you're going to use it, just use it in certain areas of your face. So all I do is take the Lorac Balance and Brighten powder, and I just put this right on that area. And I just pat this in. I don't like blending because it kind of blends away some of the foundation if you do that. This powder gives a really, really subtle glow, but it's so beautiful. It doesn't look heavy on the skin. All right, so I just quickly did my bronzer, blush, and highlight. For bronzer, actually all these are from Physicians Formula. I use the Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. This is the darker shade. I like it way better than the lighter one. Then I use the Butter Blush in Rosy Pink. And then for highlight, I use the Butter Highlighter, the Butter Day, in pink. So that's what's on my face. So now I'm going to go in for setting spray. I usually do it after my eyeshadow and everything, and brows too, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to do it right now. So I'm going to use the Mist and Fix today. I just found a new bottle, so that's exciting. I'm going to use this one. A little test spray. Oh, it smells so bad, but it works so good. So I lost a little clip of me talking about this, so I just wanted to add it in, but this is one of my favorite setting sprays. I feel like it actually does something. Great for dry skin, great for oily skin if you like a dewy finish, but I just really feel like this helps to kind of settle everything and make your face just look like skin. So I'm going to let this dry down, do the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. Alright, so the rest of my makeup's on. I just did basic, used the Dream Street palette by Kathleen Lights. I just went in with this shade and then this tan shade. That's all I did for eyeshadow. For lashes, I used the Pure Jet Setter lashes, one of my favorites. And then, what else? Lipstick. I tried out the Physicians Formula Healthy Lip Velvet Finish. This is in the shade Restorative Effects. And I kind of wish I knew about this shade before I just did the red lipsticks video, because this is such a beautiful wintry red. It's almost showing up brighter on camera, but it has that deep wintry look to it. It's the first time I'm wearing this formula. It takes a while to dry down. It has a little bit of, not stick to it, you can just kind of feel it. It's not transferring on my teeth or anything. It does feel like it dried down. It just took a while to do that, but this shade is beautiful. So I think I covered everything. This is pretty much what I've been doing. This is what my skin has been looking like, and I feel like this routine just works really well for me. So let me know if you guys try it out. Let me know what you think of it. Also let me know down below what your favorite foundations are for dry skin, and if you want to see that video. Lots of things to let me know down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I feel like my lash on this side is literally over my brow. If you're new here, you can join the Bayrito family and subscribe. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. When you guys are seeing this, I will be in Europe, so if you want to follow along, here's my social media. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.